Hi there. I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. Listen, I am excited about what's happening right now because I have had several people over the course of my life, and in particular, most recently, quite a few at the same time. It seems like, woo, everybody's talking about this subject. And while I'm letting people come on, hey, good to see you. I see you on Instagram and YouTube. This will be up for a little while. I introduced the topic a few days ago, and I wanted to let you know why this is important first. Let me tell you that as I did a little research, I watched several, many, many YouTube videos. I did some research. I talked to one of my good friends who's had an amazing mentor. And what I found out is that most often we overlook things that are really created to bless us, but we're also not sure about how to receive it or go after it. So, this whole conversation right now is about mentoring. Now, it's a word that we throw around a lot, but I want to suggest that we probably use one word to talk about several different experiences we either need or we're searching for. And the reason why I want you to stay tuned is because I would suggest that everything in your life that is going to be more fruitful and productive, if you are going to advance and make progress in a very significant way in your life, if you have never had a person that you can call on, or here, let me flip it, if you have individuals who are looking to you, asking you about being a mentor or pouring into their life, all of these phrases that we hear a lot, pour into me, or gleaning from someone, these are very popular in the Christian community. I want to break down a few terms. I have 5 different titles, different roles, different experiences I want to talk about today. I'm not going to be very long, so I want you to go ahead and tag somebody, let them know that they can join this conversation, because I do want you to drop in your questions, okay? Especially if you are on Instagram and if you're on YouTube as well. I've got somebody monitoring to help me out, but I want you to please drop in your questions if you have any questions about mentorship, mentoring. Either you want to find a mentor or you are a mentor, but you want to be better at it. Let me give you a couple of hints. First of all, the 5 different terms. I know you're like, what is she talking about, 5 different terms? Let me tell you what I know. We use the word mentor, and many times we are talking about a counselor, a coach, an advisor, even a spiritual director. Sometimes we're talking about a consultant. That's more than 5. But let me tell you the 5 I'm going to talk about today: mentors, counselors, consultants, coaches, and spiritual directors. Now, the spiritual director title, I think that's kind of newer, even though it's been around for centuries. And I'm going to save that for last. But let me talk first of all about mentoring. We use that word, and many times we're loading it down with so much that is not mentoring. Let me tell you what mentoring is not. We immediately think this is somebody who's going to come and give me all kinds of advice, tell me what to do, and I'm going to hang out with them forever. And all of that is true. What makes mentoring very different from many of the other words I just said is that there really is a space where this person has opened their life to you. Now, I want to make this clear because very effective mentoring is about a specific skill or a body of knowledge that you do not have, and you're looking for someone who is more experienced, more knowledgeable, who's been there, done that, and can show you the way. The mentor goes before you because they have the insight. A mentor will give you instruction. A mentor will give you direction. A mentor will also give you correction. I'm going to talk about that later. Put a pin there because this is going to be important. If you are looking for a mentor, or if you want some tips about how to find the right person, please pay attention, because a mentor will do all of that. And opening their life to you is really critical to understand. Now, there are mentors in the corporate setting, in the public sector of public works, and I say public works, in politics, in community service, sometimes, especially in politics. There are mentors in business. They have mentoring programs. It's all wonderful, but usually there's a special line of interest where your mentor will help you move up the ladder or get further down the line. That's why I say mentoring is about special knowledge, information, experience that you know you don't have, so you need someone to show you, okay? Or even if you have the beginning of it, a mentor helps you navigate the space, instruction, direction, correction. A counselor is different because a counselor, and I really thank so many of the people who've already done some research on this, but I'm just giving you the intro to this, okay? And I'll tell you why this is important a little bit later. So stay tuned. A counselor is different because a counselor is someone who usually taps with you into your past experiences. Most often, a counselor is the person who is helping you to unpack some past trauma or drama, some hindrances, and learn how to heal and overcome from past experiences. Okay? That's a counselor. And you can put into counseling, therapy, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, all of that usually has to do with some experience you've already had that you need help unraveling, healing from it. And so you don't look necessarily to a counselor the same way you do to a mentor. Now, there may be some slight connection, some of the same stuff, but usually your mentor is not going to be your counselor. They can, it's possible, but when you really want a pure mentor, you might need to differentiate. Am I dealing with something that has to do with a past experience where I need to unravel, unpack, unearth, just really heal or sort through and process things? That may be more for a counselor. And in this day and age, listen, many times because of what we did not experience or receive from our family of origin or from some church experience that may have been hurtful or harmful. We talk about church hurt. You think you need a mentor to get to a certain place, but what you really need is a counselor. And so when that mentor is not equipped or available for you in a way to help you process things, you feel like, oh, well, that person wasn't really meeting my need. No, you need to know what you really need. And maybe it's a counselor instead of the mentor, the mentor. I hope I'm helping you. Listen up. Now, some of you need a coach. A coach is different. A coach is a person who is really creating a space for you to pull out of yourself. You already have the resources. You already have the ability, the skills, but many times it's a lack of confidence. It's a lack of clarity, that sharp, strategic discernment that you need to go forward. You have a lot of the pieces of the puzzle, but you just need a space to open up and help you put it together. And the coach is not giving you a lot of advice as much as asking questions because the answers are already within you. You just need a space to work it all out and pull it together and see the puzzle coming together. That's a coach. Some of us look for direction when you are matched with a person who's much more of a coach than they are a mentor or a counselor. And so you're looking for all this information and advice, and they're just asking you questions. And you might get frustrated because you're looking for answers when they're already in you. And a good coach will help you unpack that and discover. Coaching is also about moving you forward. So they're not going to dig into everything about your past like a counselor will. I'm only trying to help you dig deeper into what you really need. The other person that you might consider is what I would call a consultant. Consultants are really strategic. Listen, they see a problem, they know how to address it, they know how to assess it, address it, and alleviate it. Okay? That is the consultant. You have something that's not quite right. Businesses do this all the time. Churches do this all the time. But in your personal life, have you ever considered that this one particular problem may be fixed if I just get with somebody who it's not that I don't have information. I have that. So I don't need a mentor to help me navigate. I'm doing well there. Maybe I don't need a counselor. I don't need to be healed up from something of my past. I know where I'm going. I'm in a good space. And I may not even need a coach because now I understand what the pieces are, but I'm at this impasse. I hit a wall. I feel stuck maybe. A consultant can see the problem and help you with some good information and instruction, assess it, address it, and alleviate it. Now, the spiritual director is one I would say I'm gonna show you. I hope you can see this. This is something. But you know what? I'll do it later. I'll put it up later. I don't know if you can see this little diagram. It's kind of like a house I built. But this inner wall, and then there's these outer walls, and then there's this grand place. So the inner part, that's what I would say is the role of the counselor or the coach, because those are individuals who are really helping you dig from the inside. Remember, the coach is a person who's not giving you answers, but helping you to pull from within to answer your own questions and give you direction, and you make progress. Dig from within with the coach and the counselor who is helping you deal with the past. The coach is taking you to your future, your present and your future. So that's some inner work that has to be done, but they're helping you bring that out. The next layer I put here is usually like the mentor, if you all can see that, is the mentor and your consultant. Because when your inner work is solid, then you can talk with somebody about the things you don't know for sure, because you learn that I don't know as much as I thought I needed, or I don't have as much as I thought. So you need someone who's been there, done that, and can teach you and show you the way and offer correction. But then you also need someone who, when you hit an impasse, can help you. Remember, a really good consultant will not only assess it, but will address it and help you to alleviate the problems and the impasse if you feel stuck, or if you need some new insight or new fresh perspectives, new tools even. The spiritual director is a person I think of as overall arching, because and also the foundation, because spiritual directors are really here to help you better discern what is God doing in my life right now. What am I hearing? What am I sensing? I like to think of it as connecting the dots. All of this is great, but we often live in isolated, compartmentalized experiences, and we get a little bit here for business, we get a little bit here for our relationships, we get a little bit here for our personal spiritual journey. And I believe that, especially as Christians, we have to have a space where we kind of start bringing it all together and connecting the dots. And what is the picture? What is the vision that God is giving us for our lives? That's where spiritual direction comes in. Not to try to give you all the answers, but to help guide you and nurture the process until the things that God is showing you become a little bit clearer. There's so much more I could say about each one of those roles, but this all came to me as a result of, again, some individuals asking me about mentorship. And when I ask, the first question I will ask back to them about, what are you looking for? Now, for those of you who are mentors, or somebody comes to you and asks about that, listen, you should be asking that question. It is an honor. It is humbling. It is beautiful. You know, if you got an ego thing, it could kind of stroke your ego. Somebody's asking me to mentor them. Okay, cute, fine. But you should be asking them, what are your goals? What are you looking for? What does that word mean to you? Because they may say mentor, and really they need a counselor and a therapist. Hello. They say mentor, but really they need more of a coach, or they're looking for a consultant. And the best place to start is with a clear understanding and level set the expectations. Now, for all of you who may be interested in finding somebody, how do you do that? There are so many YouTube videos and books about this. And there's no doubt a mentor or someone like a mentor will help you make progress in life. But the main thing is that you understand what type of personality, if you will, that you need, okay? Let me give you a couple of strong suggestions, okay? I'm speaking first to those who would be a mentee, or who are looking for someone to either mentor, coach, counsel, spiritual direction, any of that. Let me give you just a few hints. Some of what I'm about to say comes from a business, corporate setting. Some of it comes from a church and spiritual setting. Some of it is just kind of flat line, bottom line wisdom. And I'm going to be very raw and honest with you, okay? I hope I don't offend anybody. I don't want it. My intention is not to offend you. But I got to be truthful. I got to be honest with you. When you get to the place in life where you feel like you need a mentor, you have to first ask yourself, have I had one before? And this is what I meant by earlier. Sometimes we miss the blessing that mentors have been because we didn't give them that title. They didn't have that title, but they were mentoring you anyway. I'm one who has often said, I never had that one person that was my mentor all through life. I wanted it. And I realized after a while, I had many mentors, They may not have had a formal contract. It may not have been a formal conversation. Will you be my mentor? And they say, yes, I'll be your mentor. It may not have been that. It may have been that they were giving me instruction in ways and spaces that I did not know how to navigate. They were giving me direction, and they were definitely giving me correction. They opened up their lives to me, and they allowed me to walk alongside or follow after them to learn in spaces that I did not know about, I was not familiar with. So I first want to ask you, are you already exposed to mentors and you don't even realize it? Mentors need to be living, and they can be in the pages of a book. You can be mentored by someone through pure reading. You like, well, what does that mean? The best mentorship, yes, it will be that they open their lives and there will be some face-to-face, one-on-one communication and contact. But the parameters of that, that's totally open. There's no doctrine that says you have to meet every week for lunch at 2 o'clock on Thursday. But what you should do if you're looking to find someone that will be a part of your life's journey, you have to remember you need to respect that person's time, their experience and expertise, and the fact that if they are open to it, you need, listen, hear me, please. Lord have mercy, please hear this. You need to make sure that you do not discount the fact that they are opening space for you and what they have to share is valuable. So do your research and do your homework first. I said all of that to say, before you ask someone, and there are many professionals who would even say, don't even ask a person to be my mentor until you've done your homework. You've read every book they've written. You've watched their life. You've done their research. You spent some time looking into their background and just observing. Why? Because you might not find that person is the match for you. Hello. That person may not be the match. Yes, they've been there, done that. Yes, they have the degree on the wall. Yes, they've written the book. But here is where personality also counts. Some people are not as open as you may need them to be. So if you really needy and like a sponge and wanting to absorb a lot, the best people who have the most to offer, usually they're very busy, which is why you need to do your research first. All of the best advice I've ever read, listened to, or heard of says that first of all, you do your research, you look into everything the person has already accomplished and done, but you come to them with a good question, and whatever they say, you do it. Point blank. A mentor is going to invest more into those who see their time as valuable, but also their information and the resources are valuable. So just make sure you get that up front. The second thing I want to say about mentoring or a person you would want to develop that kind of relationship with, it may be a mixture of all the things I've already described. They may have a little bit of the counseling experience. They may be a great coach. They may be a great consultant. But you got to know before you go into it what you are looking for. The time frame may be very short. Some people think I have to be in this mentoring relationship for a year or 6 months. It may be over a really powerful 3-hour discussion. But if you know going in what you're looking for, you are more likely to find exactly what you need. Now, let me say on the other side of that, listen, don't waste people's time. I was about to say that real nice, but I'm gonna just say it straight up. Don't waste folks' time. When someone invests their time and their information and their expertise, their experience in you, make sure that you follow up by, number one, doing what they say, following the instruction. If it's counseling, do the therapy work, do the work. If it's consulting, fix the issue, apply the remedy. You know what I'm saying? If it's spiritual direction, spend the time you need with the Lord and pray. Don't depend on somebody else to see God for you. Hello. But also remember that there should be something mutually beneficial in all of these relationships. Now, you don't go into it thinking about, usually mentees don't go to mentors and people they need advice from or sharing, thinking about what they have to offer. But again, I'm telling you, the best advice, the best YouTube videos, the best research, anything that you can find is always going to tell you that there is something that becomes mutually beneficial. Whether it is that you offer your services and your assistance to gain access to the space that these people are willing to open up for you. Or sometimes it really is a financial investment because they're going to pour a lot into you, and it's a lot of the time, or they set aside certain things that are just for their mentees. And it's a way to say, I'm committed to this, because some people, and you might be one, so I'm not trying to be offensive, I'm just being honest. Sometimes we don't follow through until we've invested. We got some skin in the game, meaning dollars. Okay. And there are other ways. There are other ways that you can invest, but I want you to be very, very, very certain about the fact that you know what you're looking for. So it's a mentor, is a counselor, is it a coach, is it a consultant, is it a spiritual director? Is it somebody who has a little bit of all of those things because you're at a place in life where you need something from all of those roles? You go in following the instructions. You go in also offering something. You also offer your investment of time. You have skin in the game. You're showing that you are appreciative, but you've also done the research so that you know there's a good match. Let me give you a couple examples. I promise you, I'm not going to keep us long. I feel like I've been talking rambling, so I want to make sure if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the video, put them in the chat, put them in. So here is what I want to give you this example. Again, I said I was at a place in life. I didn't think I had, many mentors. I just kind of gleaned from different places. And when I realized it, I was like, yeah, I have had some mentors do some things. I've definitely had some great coaches, for sure. People who, saw what was in me, created a safe space for me to kind of work on some things, coached me into getting over some of my insecurities or my flaws and hindrances, or gave me some advice to tweak a little bit, but they listened, really. Well, one moment, I see a question here. Do you need to trust your mentor, and to what extent? I love that question. I love that question. Oh my goodness. Let me finish my story, but I'm gonna talk about that. Listen, there was a point in time where I did have a mentor, and the relationship was mutually beneficial because I offered, or we negotiated. Let's say we bargained. Okay, she gave me some time and some good coaching, and some. Let's see what I say. It was good coaching, and it was some mentorship, a little bit of mentorship, because it wasn't that I learned a whole lot I didn't know. It was more about helping me to coach and get some things out of me that were in. I needed to get some safe space to talk about. The result of that was that I made a decision, y'all. I'm telling you, I'm trying to help somebody. I made a decision before we started this agreement of relationship. I made a decision. Whatever this person tells me, I'm going to do it. What's the use in saying that I'm going to open my life up and try to learn from somebody and not take the advice? It was challenging, and there was one particular thing she suggested that I wasn't thrilled about, but I prayed about it, and it reminded me of my own commitment. I'm not going to waste this person's time, and if I believe that God set this up, then I'm going to do it. It led to me getting married. I'll tell all that story another day. But the point is, there are times where one bit of obedience with the right person and the right connection can set you on a path that you never would have imagined happening in any other way. And sometimes it's about the timing and the right person. Do you need to trust your mentor? You should absolutely trust the person. This is why, to your question, I got your question. This is absolutely why you must do your homework first. You must do your research. Because why would you open your life to somebody to speak to you, to give them that type of space, and you invest in them, whether it is to serve in a certain capacity or to invest certain income or whatever? Why would you do that and not be trusting of that person? So when you do your research, then it comes to a space where you will know that this person is trustworthy. And then the natural tendency is, if it is a mentoring relationship, and relationship, I say that word strongly because for those who open up their lives and really help you to see behind the scenes and trust you to come into their place, you have to trust them. As a mentor, how do we respectfully have a conversation with someone who does not want to do the, that is so good. That was such a good question. Listen. How do you respectfully have a conversation with someone who does not want to do the work? Here is my suggestion, and I'm going to be very honest. Set up front what the parameters of the relationship will be. First of all, they need to know, are they coming to you for mentorship, coaching, consulting, counseling, all that stuff. Make that clear. And then let's together decide, what are the parameters, what are the expectations of this relationship, and what will happen when You agree to do X, Y, or Z, and it doesn't happen. Put all that up front. I say that so that this is not about control. And this is definitely not about us trying to make someone do something, because most of the time these are, mature relationships. Unless you're trying to mentor a youth and then still you talk with the parent about the parameters, right? So respectfully come back to the agreement you made. Some people go as far as making it a contract, a contract, some church language, covenant, whatever word you want to use. But the point is that you mutually agree up front. What is the time we're going to meet? What is it you expect to come out of this? How much, oh God, this is good. What is your capacity? What is your capacity for accomplishing what you want to accomplish in the time frame? Because you have, as a mentee or a person seeking out mentorship, you have these grand ideas and you think it's going to happen in 1 month or 90 days. And as the mentor, this is where your information, your experience comes in. Your expertise is so important. You have to be able to honestly say to the person, without this level of work, you're not going to get the results that you think you want. It's not going to happen this way. And here is where that beautiful dance, I like to call it, because when you see the mentee or the person who is receiving do the work, come back, then you give them a little bit more. And the bottom line too is, because you've had the opportunity to set the parameters and have a good conversation, you can also make it clear, I'm not chasing after you. That could sound harsh, but that's why I said temperament and personality really are a major part of this connection, because you have to know the personality that you will work with and if it's a fit. Because every mentor and mentee are not going to be a great fit. And it's okay. That's why you need to do your research and watch. Let me throw one more thing out here. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to bring them up, because I'm going to wrap this up really soon. And I'm hoping that this will be helpful, because I know, again, nothing in life, you're not going to make advances. You're not going to grow just being in isolation. No man is an island unto himself, right? We have to have connections. Relationships is important. Not all of us come from a family of origin that has access and resources and the connections and networks that we think we need. And so you have to learn how to live in a larger circle and not shut yourself off from opportunities. And sometimes you have to go after them. And sometimes, let me speak to people who are mentoring others, who are coaching others. Don't be afraid to step out and bring someone into your space and invite them, because especially if it's a person you see that has great potential, they're already showing you that they have promise. Do your research as well, but sometimes it's our job to tap somebody on the shoulder and give them a glimpse of what they could possibly be with just a little help. Now, you have to be prayerful and careful about that, because remember, do your research. Is this a person who is teachable? Is this a person who accepts encouragement and criticism and knows how to translate that into something positive and productive? Is this person humble enough to say, oh, thank you so much, I didn't know that, I appreciate it? Or do they get defensive? Let me close by giving you this example. I got to talk about Jesus, okay? That's just who I am. When Jesus started his ministry, he said to some guys he saw over there fishing, come follow me. That's his way of tapping them on the shoulder. We don't have anything in the text that gives us an idea that Jesus watched and researched them a long time, but he did see them. So that, in as much as what their occupation was, maybe he watched them a couple of times. We don't know. But we know that he said to them, come follow me. And they did. They dropped their nets. They followed Jesus. He found Matthew, tax collector, you know what I'm saying, and said, follow me. So he knew enough about their occupation, but he also had purpose in mind. What's different about what Jesus did, and it's so intriguing, because I did some research as I was preparing a message one time, and I learned that many times a rabbi would be chosen, the student would choose their rabbi based on how the rabbi lived, the teachings of the rabbi, what that person was about, their lifestyle. They could really observe a long time and become that person's disciple. A disciple could be another word. We we say it so much in churches, and then the world looks at that as one of those traditional religious words. But somebody who disciplines themselves to become like their teacher is what the disciple is. And so, in many ways, for a mentor, somebody who has experience and expertise, there is somebody who wants to discipline themselves so that they can get to the level of success that you're in, or learn as much as you know, or experience what you have. And so, all of that is important. But here's the thing: Jesus chose his 12. We're not going to talk about what one of them did. All right. But Jesus chose his 12 when many times it was a student who would try to ask the rabbi, can I come learn under you? And they would. They have this school. And what would happen is, for the persons who were chosen to really take up and be a true disciple, they would literally, sometimes these young boys or whatever, they would leave home and study under this rabbi for a year or more, whatever. I bring this up so that you know, opening your life up to somebody is not a trite, simple little task, which is why I emphasize over and over, do your research. Find out if it's a good fit. Find out, watch, read the books. If you haven't read their books, if you haven't done the research, if you don't know where they've come from, you don't know what they study, you don't know their journey, then start watching and then ask questions little by little to see if that's a good fit. For those who are mentors trying to help others, remember that there are some people who don't even know their full potential. But if you invite them into your space, you can then see, you've done some research, you see their potential, but then you can see when you invite them into your space, how do they handle that? Okay? Again, some of us need coaching. That's a little bit different. Some of us need a counselor. Okay? Some of us need a consultant, and it's just to deal with some strategic issues in a safe space, to deal with some problems and fix them. Some of us need the spiritual life director, the spiritual director, to kind of pull it all together. What is God saying right now? If you are blessed in your life to have at least one person to have any one of those roles, you are blessed, because so many people do not. But I would also challenge you to think about how you can be that for someone else. I wanted to do this because, like I said, I've been asked a few times in my life, and I always get a little overwhelmed, and I feel it is an honor, but I also take it so seriously because I know the transformative power of these relationships. You get a good counselor to unpack and to heal from some past hurts and pains, you can be well on your way to a whole new life. You get a good coach who already knows you have the potential and doesn't need to tell you too much, but just kind of help you get up and moving in the direction of your greatest progress. It can open up a whole new door of life. If you get in contact with somebody who's a strong consultant, and it can be for your business or some personal affairs, they can help you unlock the keys, find the key to unlock whatever's going on that's locked up in you with this problem or this situation, or assess it right so that you can alleviate it. Or if you're a person who really does need the mentor, you know that there's somewhere else in life you want to go and you don't know how to get there. You need the roadmap and someone with the instruction, the direction, the guidance, and the correction, and you're open to that. Any one of those roles can really be a shift, a major shift in your life. But the point first is that you have to know for yourself where you stand right now, what you need, and then be very prayerful, do the research. And I do believe the Lord will send not just one person, but you can have many in varying roles at different seasons in your life. But a lot of the times we have to first appreciate what we've already received and learn how to move from there. I want to thank you for joining me, and I am certain someone you know would benefit from listening to this, to just kind of think through where they are in life. It could be a young person. Listen, it could be an older person who is in transition. Many people who are between careers or trying to figure out what to do next would benefit from just pausing to reflect on all the different ways that we need that assistance. And it's okay to ask for it, but ask God first. Make sure it's a good match. And then I want to open up to you and say that I do plan on having my own, let's say, a mentoring cohort, spiritual direction cohort. I'll send out more information on March 4th. Let me just tell you right now, on March 4th, I'll put out another announcement, but I'll put the information and the application on my website so that if you are interested in seeing if we are a good match, then I want to make myself available. I know what it is to have somewhat of sense of a lack of what to do next, where to go next. I also know what it is to have some great people speak to my life, coach me, consult me, give me consultation. They have consulted me too, but to give me consultation and to mentor me, even if it was from a distance. And I want to be able to help you and support you in that way. That's what I'm about. The intensified life for me is about helping anybody and everybody who will listen get to a stronger, more dynamic relationship with God, yes, but also living the abundant life that comes from that. It's intense. It's wonderful. It's dynamic. It's anything but boring. It's a great adventure with God. So I'm glad it was helpful. I see a comment there. I hope that you will be able to use some of this to reflect and to help someone else get to the next place in their journey. If you want more content like this, let me know what you think, but certainly leave more of your comments or just pass it along. And I'm looking forward to seeing many of you either on Instagram, following me if you're not already, or definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel at Intensified Life TV with Dr. Lakeisha B. Whew, we got through. I was talking much more than I thought I would, but it just got good to me and I loved your questions. So keep them coming and I'll revisit. And remember, March 4th, I'll have that up on my website for you to learn more about the cohort coming this summer really soon. Take care.